Hello everybody. Welcome to the stream. And it's a stream that is actually about on-pitch football. I know, what a treat. We very rarely get to do this right now because everyone keeps talking transfers and things like that, and I admit I'm not completely innocent of that, but you know what? Sod it. Gonna keep on doing it a lot of the time anyway. Because Leeds United are going to face off with Wolves tomorrow at about 3 p.m. I say about 3 p.m. because I'm not 1000% sure, but I'm pretty certain that it's 3 p.m. And it's going to be a fairly interesting one, and we are going to take a little bit of a deep dive into it. Hello. Talking through who we expect to play, how we expect them to play, and ultimately how everything is potentially going to work out, and if we're feeling confident or not. So, I'm going to start out by going with the sort of predicted lineup for what we can expect from Wolves. But before I do all that kind of stuff, I would hugely appreciate if you're feeling in a kind mood, pop a like on the stream, subscribe, help with the various algorithm things that keep on happening right now, because they are genuinely shafting people that do YouTube stuff, and we kind of need every little help that we can get at this present moment. So thank you very much with that. One quick second, I'm just going to make some little adjustments to something. Cool. So, where is everyone? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm currently in Blackpool. Notification popped up. Oh, hey! Thank you very much, YouTube, for actually pushing some of my shit sometimes. So, I'm just going to have to copy and paste a lot of different Wolves players. 1 second. Because I didn't do this prep beforehand, because instead I decided to play a little bit of Peak. I'm quite good at Peak, and I'm working on getting all of the achievements, but it's not the best when you're also trying to be quite productive. Which, you guys know me. Productive, not really my jam a lot of the time. But I try. So, that's the Wolves formation set out. And I'm going to mute notifications over here. And go to F11. And I'm going to sort of show through what the sort of predicted lineup for this one is going to be. So, pop over here. We expect Wolves will play in a 3-4-3. This is because Wolves, throughout the season so far, have played in this very same 3-4-3. It's working out for them for the most part. So, in terms of lineup, I am just going to throw in what I think is going to happen, then we can have a little bit of a debate about it after the fact. I think Darlow is undoubtedly going to be our starting goalkeeper. Another one that isn't a doubt is you're going to see Bogle starting out on the right. You are going to see Gudmundsson starting out on the left. Bit of a shame about his own goal last week, but it's the perfect opportunity to make up for that, I think. I also see Strauch and Rodon playing again, because I don't really think they put a foot wrong in the slightest in the match last week. So let's pull them out. If I can click, no. Yeah, there's like 1 pixel I can click for the Strauch one. There we go. Strauch Rodon. And I think Ampadu in front as well, because that is sort of undoubted. Ampadu is a just very good part of that unit, and I think if you were to sort of sack him off for any reason, I would be genuinely very confused and think that we are making a mistake. So if I whack Ampadu here, lovely Joe Blair. That's not, is that the middle? I think that's the middle. Cool. I put him this deep because realistically that's sort of where he plays. I'm gonna go with Stack again, because we know that Stack has a very genuinely high level of quality when he's on form. He's struggling a little bit at the moment at points, but I think whack him in there because it makes a bit of sense. And I'm going to go Tanaka rather than Longstaff, because I think Tanaka is the more passy creative of those players rather than that sort of destructor role. For me, you use Tanaka in this one. Now comes the other bit. Okafor, without a doubt, starts for me out on that left flank. Kind of has to be, because Okafor was fairly good in the last match. Really sort of showed why he deserves to sort of stake a claim in that side. On the right, I've seen word that Willy Gnonto is potentially in the squad, has travelled. However, with Daniel Farker saying that he is a doubt and a potential risk, I'm going Aronson instead. We're not going to want to risk any injuries to key players like Willy Gnonto right now, primarily because that would screw him up for a longer period of time, which would be even worse, to be completely honest with you. And then up top is the sort of obvious option. It's kind of got to be DCL, because DCL last week got into those good, dangerous positions relatively consistently. The only issue was there wasn't really the finish there, but he didn't get the chances to finish, so I'm not particularly going to blame him. Now, before we hop into all of the rest of everything, and talking about the different teams' like performances so far this season, very, very genuine question. And I'm going to full screen that all the way. Cool, that'll do it. And the very, very genuine question is, would you guys make any changes to what I've picked for that first 11? Because I think that first 11 is sort of how we're going to have to land. And if it wasn't, I would be deeply surprised. So stop jumping, you absolute shit. There we go. So I'm reckoning Darlow in net, obviously, because Perry isn't ready yet. He was asked this in the presser. It's fine. Strauch, Rodon as your centre-backs, with Ampadu sort of that half-back covering midfield kind of role. Goodmanson out on the left, Bogle on the right. The team thus far has effectively picked itself, as has Anton Stach. Didn't have the best of matches against Fulham, but then again, that's going to happen from time to time. I've gone to Tanaka over Longstaff, because personally I think Farke likes Tanaka, and whilst Folksy, you've made a fair point, you think Farke keeps it exactly the same, you know he's like Longstaff will start. We also know that last season that wasn't the case. Last season he rotated consistently between Gruev and Rothwell depending on what the match needed. And that's the kind of thing that I can see happening right now, playing Tanaka as an alternative to Longstaff when you need that more delicate kind of part of the game. Okafor out on the left, again, I think effectively picks himself. I think Okafor is a very, very talented footballer, and to drop him would be a big mistake. Aronson goes on the right-hand side because he can do that very, very creative stuff. Well, not the creative stuff, the destructive stuff that helps us to create is the way that I'm going to phrase it. Wins the ball back in high areas, causes a threat, is effectively Brendan Aronson's job in this side. And then Calvert-Lewin, because I think Calvert-Lewin is probably our best number 9 at the minute. Folks is saying, don't be surprised to see Harrison start. I would be fairly surprised to see Harrison start, to be honest. Okafor has said that he prefers to play out on the left. Harrison has said he prefers to play out on the left. For me, the choice is between those two. If we end up with Harrison over Okafor, I would be shocked. And if it turns out to be Okafor's playing on the right and Harrison's playing on the left, again, I would be shocked, because Okafor has said, I really prefer it on the right. Not on the right, on the left. On the right, it feels a bit lost, all that kind of stuff, etc., etc. Need to score to at least get a point, I think. I'm not certain, and we'll run through why I'm not particularly certain in a moment. But I think the argument for maybe Longstaff starts instead is a fair one. But I don't know if I prefer, personally, Tanaka for this one. And I think Farke's ability to see, right, okay, this game needs X, Y, or Z, like was mentioned in Richard's comment, Rothwell started at home, not away. Sure, cool, but at the same time, Rothwell did start several away games against some of the simpler sides. So I think that's maybe what the look will be, rather than just kick the shit out of them. It might be a little bit more of a Tanaka, we need someone to break through, because a quick note that I'm going to bring up. Don't do that. Hang on. Oh, I can draw on the page. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so what is potentially interesting and of note is this section here, right? Because every team that we've played so far has played a 4-2-3-1, has effectively had 3 players in midfield. Wolves, they've just got the 2. These are more sort of wingers / wide attackers, 3 centre-backs, 2 wing-backs, right? So effectively a back 5. Hello, Matty, by the way, if I forgot to say hello. That's on me. By comparison, we know what our midfield tends to do. So we got Tanaka. Ampadu is still part of the midfield, even though I've sat him a bit deeper to sort of demonstrate that 6 role. Ampadu, Stach, Tanaka. Typically, we're going 3 matching against 3. In this case, we're going 3 matching against 2, so I think we can afford to go with a Tanaka as opposed to Longstaff, because we don't need Longstaff's sort of physicality in that midfield to win the ball back quite so much. We've still got Stach in there. We've still got Ampadu there. It's just a case of sort of finding that balance a little bit. Harrison can also play on the right. He very, very, very rarely does, though. Like, have a look at Harrison's previous stint at Leeds United. When he was in the side with Pablo Hernandez, Pablo would play on the right, he would play on the left. When he was in the side with Helder Costa, Harrison would play on the left, Costa would play on the right. When he was in the side with Jack Clark, Harrison would play on the left, Jack Clark would play on the right. When Rafinha was in the side, Harrison would play on the left, Rafinha would play on the right. And there's countless examples of Jack Harrison being very, very much dedicated to sticking to that left flank. So I really cannot see Harrison coming in and playing on the right wing. If he does, I'll be surprised. And like, fair enough, Daniel Farke, you will have shocked me. But that's fair. Hang on. I'm going to have a look at that. Because I'll be honest, I very much avoided a lot of Everton last season because I couldn't be bothered watching them. But let's have a see. He did play on the right of fair work last season. Okay. Weird. But I don't strictly see him doing that for Farke, is mainly the thing, because there have been many options at Leeds for him to do so, and he didn't, which is why I'm a little bit not leaning that way. Farke's hinted at Harrison, said he's knocking at the door. The inside training are all pro Harrison. They're trying to soften us. Anyway, I hope I'm wrong. Normally am. I don't reckon we see Harrison start. I see the potential for maybe Jack Harrison gets more minutes in the coming weeks and works towards something that looks a little bit more like a start. But I don't see it in the immediate term. I don't know what I've done there. Let's go back. Cool. There we go. This is why I should never work with like new things. There we go. Cool. That should do it. What is all of this? Oh my god. It's insane. There's a remote control. Madness. Anyway. That's my rough... Ah! Okay, I'm going to leave the scary tool now. But yeah, that's my thinking. I think we won't need the physicality of all three midfielders being a sort of tackly, kicky person in the midfield, so instead we can afford to do the Tanaka kind of thing. Graphics look good. Thank you. I bodged them together very, very quickly on Canva, and I'm very, very glad it worked. But we've had a little bit of a talk about what we expect from Leeds United, and sure, we have disagreements. We always do, because we're Leeds United fans, and we disagree on Leeds United. That's what we do as a people. It's how we work, goddammit. But we are going to take a little bit of a look at Wolves and how they have been doing so far this season, because it's not been great. Let's be completely honest. So let's pull the numbers across and take a look at their results so far. So they played against Manchester City and they got pumped. That was a bad match for them. They looked like a team that had never played football together before. It wasn't a good time. Against Bournemouth, got beaten 1-0, but were soundly beaten in terms of performances. 0.5 XG is not good in the slightest. And for comparison, I'm just going to duplicate this page and I'm going to pull up Leeds. And I'm going to do a little bit of quick maths. So Leeds' combined XG this season in the league, 2.9, 3.7, roughly 1 per match. On the other hand, 1.1, 2.2, 2.7. As much as we say that we are not a good attacking side at the moment and we're not creating and all this kind of stuff, Wolves have created significantly less. You might point to the fact that like they scored 2 against Everton, sure, fine, but they did so off the back of 1.1 expected goals, which means that they vastly overperformed. The finishing for them in that match, pretty good. But they still lost 3-2 because their expected goals against is nuts. Is currently 2. Let's do some more maths. 2.8, 5.2, 7.1. 7.1 divided by 4, 1.75 a match, which is high. And whilst we have a look at sort of our fixtures and we say, right, okay, we played 2 Champions League sides, played against Fulham, who are a tricky side, played Everton, who are a tricky side, they're in a roughly similar boat. They have had tricky side, being Bournemouth, they've had Everton, and they've had 2 Champions League teams. And we've come out of it looking a little bit better than they have, which I'm sort of happy with, and we've come out of it looking fairly unlucky against Fulham as well. Admittedly, against Everton, there's an argument of we got a bit of luck on the penalty, but to be completely honest with you, we were better than Everton for that match, comfortably. And I think Folksy's right in his most recent comment there, that this is probably our best chance to get on that score sheet. They are a team that does defensive solidity relatively well, as you can tell by the way that they go to 5 at the back. Or at least you'd think that they do defensive solidity relatively well because of the 5 at the back, but it's a structure with some weaknesses in it. So if I look very specifically at the Newcastle match, right? And I'm going to sort by which players took the shots for Newcastle. So it's across the board, effectively, and the best way that I can describe it is that their wing-backs get a little bit too high. So Jacob Murphy had the most shots in that match, played on the right wing, which implies that he's getting behind their left-back to cause some problems. Harvey Barnes, 1 shot less than that. Again, hiccups, sorry about that. Harvey Barnes had 1 shot less than that, which, again, you'd look at that and you'd kind of go, okay, another winger, another bunch of chances. Very, very interesting. Apparently that is their weak point, those sort of wide defensive areas, and I would imagine that they have also noticed that is their defensive weakness, because surely you look at the data, but it's an opportunity for us. And in addition to that, they were just leaking chances to Voltemada, who, 23-year-old, new forward, you think, okay, maybe you try and keep this lad quiet. Scores a goal, gets 3 shots, and the shots are, let's be completely honest here, pretty decent chances, hence having 1.5 expected goals. And we know that it's like, I wouldn't say it was easy to keep Newcastle limited to not having much in terms of chances, but they really didn't have much in terms of chances. We kept them properly out of that game, which I'm kind of happy with. And now it's a case of how do we transform those defensive performances and say, cool, you've built that foundation, now you build the rest of it. Now you get attacking, and now you cause big problems for Wolves. So I'm going to take a very, very quick look at the shot map for Newcastle from that game, because I think this is going to be an interesting little bit of data. Because if you have a look, zoom in a touch, hopefully it doesn't completely break. It completely broke, because of course it completely broke. Never mind, I found it. Sort of. Yeah, there we go. That'll have to do. But you take a look at the shot map for Newcastle, and it's very central, in spite of the fact that both wingers got between them 7 shots. So Voltemada from a wide area, cool. Willock had plenty of opportunities in this game. Barnes, again, that's their widest shot. Didn't go well, but even the widest shot is within the tram lines. So it sort of shows the way that Wolves, the way that you deal with them is you get around the outside and then you cut in, which points to close range shot, close range shot, close range shot, close range shot. All 4 of these hovering around the penalty box, 6-yard box kind of area are very, very genuinely good opportunities, and it shows a structural weakness in the way that you will see Wolves playing. A lot of these efforts, fair enough, are outside the box. And this isn't necessarily what you want to see, because if you're taking shots from outside the box, you're not really threatening the goalkeeper that much. Of course, Tonali, that one was on target, just about. As was that one. That was genuinely a decent shot. That must have been a pretty damn good save. But a lot of this is sort of hovering edge of the box, but the real threat comes from these, where XG 0.68, 0.04, admittedly, but that's presumably, yeah, that's from a corner. 0.09 from a corner, fair enough. But this one is a case of they will have gone down the flank, cut into Voltemada, who has the opportunity to finish. If you combine the various things that we know and we understand, so now we know that this is a specific weakness that Wolves can fall to, so let's focus on it. We know that Calvert-Lewin is someone that can hit the penalty spot and make sure he's in the right position to finish off a chance. He might take 1 or 2 chances to get one in the back of the net, but at least he's there, and he's there ready to tap it home. Focus on that. Focus on getting your wingers behind, focus on getting Bogle in those dangerous wide areas. Now, I know, it can be spooky, because it's 5 at the back. You don't want to sort of overcommit, because if you do, then that front 3 is going to kill you. But if your wing-backs can cause issues in those wider areas, force those sort of wide forwards into the position where they're forced to defend from time to time, we massively improve our chances here. Because we know that the wing-backs get caught out, which implies to me that those wingers aren't doing too much work either. So, left-hand side, Goodmanson and Okafor, if they target that wing-back, we're going to cause havoc. Right-hand side, if it's Aronson, fine. We know that he likes to do the running. Run at your man, Bogle will be there on the overlap. You know what to do from there. Bogle, drill it in, have forwards in the box. Because if they're easy enough to get around the sides of, and we can drill those balls in, all it takes is a single foot, or a shin, or a knee, or it can bounce off your thigh, or your fucking dick, if you want. As long as it ends up in the back of the net, I don't particularly mind how we do it. But one of the most important things for Leeds United to do right now is to get those goals. Because if we can get a goal from open play, just one, just one little goal, it's going to calm down so many people so much. And it's going to make everything feel a little bit more sane for a while. When it comes to Richard's question of who the wing backs are, they have Hugo Bueno playing out on the right-hand side, who his passing is relatively atrocious, 68% passing accuracy. 7 crosses, only 2 of them accurate. 2 long balls, none of them accurate. Lost 3 of his 4 aerial duels, lost possession 21 times. Yeah, let's target Hugo Bueno, shall we? And then on the left is Rodrigo Gomez, who took 33 touches, 79% passing accuracy, so that's better. He didn't cross it once, though. 2 long balls, neither of them being accurate. And he only lost possession 7 times. So I think if we do what we can to hit Hugo Bueno relentlessly, then we'll be in a pretty damn good spot. And we can feel kind of good about it. Thank you, Ellie. I appreciate that. Shame Dan James injured. Would have been great for us hitting the channels and getting behind over to Bogle. Yeah, I think Bogle... Because I saw a lot of people saying, why don't we play Bogle as a winger, because then he can get high and wide. Bogle does that anyway. We don't need to encourage Jayden Bogle to do that, hitting the wide areas as hard as he can kind of deal, because we know that Bogle's going to do that in every single match regardless. If he's doing that in a standard sort of 4-3-3, don't change it. Because you can have whoever the hell else on the right-hand side. Aronson on the right then. I think so. I think that makes sense, to be honest with you. Because looking at the left-hand side, last match they played a 3-5-2 instead, which is weird. What did they do before that? I know Strand Larsen might be back, which could cause a little bit of an issue. But I don't know if that changes their system. I'm tempted to say it won't. I'll have a look at the match against Everton. Lineups. That was more of a 3-4-3, and they played Arias out on the left-hand side. So, again, Arias, pretty good, but... Wait, hold on, that's out on the left-hand side, so that would be our right. So Hugo Bueno was playing as the left-back in that case, rather than Rodrigo Gomez. Their team is all over the place. So if it's Hugo Bueno playing as their left-back, he's going to be in trouble, because he's going to get Bogle all over him. And in addition to that, he's going to get Aronson pressing the ever-loving shit out of him. Which could be fun. I'm looking forward to that, to be honest with you. As long as we're making their wing-backs work ridiculously hard and we're causing them as many problems as we can, more than happy with that. Manager said Larson may play minutes, but not the full 90. Okay, that's good. That implies off the bench to me, and I don't mind him coming off the bench. Also, Jose Sarr has apparently not been very, very good this season. In that match, he got a 5.9. Goals prevented in the negative isn't really what you want to see. Let's check matches. Oof. Okay. So 5.8 against City, a 6.9 against Wolves, that's fine enough. Then a 5.9 against Everton. Did he play in their most recent match? Who was their keeper against Newcastle? Sam Johnston. Why is Sam Johnston a starting Premier League goalkeeper in 2025? What's going on here? I don't know, I'm confused. Anyway, I'm going to bring the stream to a close in a minute, but I'm going to do a quick prediction first. I'm going to go confident, because I think we've had a good time at Wolves in the Premier League. It's not necessarily been an easy time. It's often been a very, very stressful time, but it's been typically a good time. So I'm going to stick the boat out and say that Leeds United win. And I'm going to say that we do it with relative confidence. I think we win 2-0. I know a lot of people are talking about sort of the bogey issue right now of not being able to score goals from open play. I think this is the time that we break that. I think this is the time that we can break that because we are a very decent side. It's just about that front line clicking together for me, getting that chemistry. And I think this is one of those matches where that can happen. Heart says 2-0, head says 0-0. Stick with your heart. Your heart's more fun. Anyway, I'm going to leave that stream there in a moment. I might do something video-y in the morning. I've not decided yet, but it is my one night off work for the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to have a chill. I'm going to watch Taskmaster from last night with my wife, and I'm going to have a lovely homemade spag bol. Beautiful. I will be tomorrow over on Big Up on Jer's channel. I will be hopping into the watch along, so that's going to be a nice time. So hopefully I see as many of you there as feasibly possible. And I'm going to leave the stream there. So pop a like on it if you haven't yet. Again, very, very, very desperately needed, given the algorithm doing its thing. Subscribe if you haven't yet as well, and pop a comment in the chat down below, because again, that's a big algo-y thing, I believe. Sorry for spamming the chat, just trying to help the algorithm. It's fine, genuinely, it's all good. It's massively appreciated. Plus, what I'm going to say on that before I do end the stream is people don't need to say sorry for putting stuff in the chat, because a lot of the time when I'm doing a live stream, I'm bouncing off the chat. So just shout your thoughts in there. It's massively appreciated, and it gives whoever is streaming or doing whatever something to talk about a lot of the time. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.